Hello, everybody, and welcome to All Queued Up, your review podcast tied to streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, HBO Max, Disney Plus, etc., etc., etc. With me always is my co-host Maya Don Fisher. Normally, at this moment, I'd ask how her week has been, but we need to address the elephant in the room before we even get started. This last weekend, there was another horrific mass shooting in Tennessee.
Monday, actually.
Was it Monday? I thought it was Sunday.
It was Monday. It was Monday.
3 teachers and 3 children were killed, and I don't remember how many were injured. This was at a Christian school. Now, I only mentioned that part.
The one teacher was the actual headmaster of the school.
Right. The reason I bring up
probably the main target.
Yeah, likely, very likely. The reason I bring it up is because the shooter themselves was trans. And that person who killed 6 people in cold blood deserves nothing but the worst. I don't care what kind of person what they are. They did something unspeakable. Plain and simple. End of story. The problem that I'm having, the thing that has been angering me and saddening me over this past few days since this happened, is the discourse online.
Or lack thereof.
Well, the discourse I'm referring to is people like Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh.
Oh, God, Matt Walsh.
The list goes on.
Worst.
Matt Walsh literally being the worst, calling for all trans people to be put into fucking concentration camps. And I'm not saying that hyperbolic. I'm saying that... Oh, I'm sorry. He's not saying that with hyperbole. He's saying that with directness.
Mm-hmm.
He means it. Now, are these other conservative pieces of shit saying that? No, but they're definitely hinting towards it. I mean, Tucker Carlson having on Fox News last night a thing on the bottom of his screen that says the trans community is now targeting Christians.
Yeah.
Now, I want to run some fucking stats for any just absolute brain dead pieces of shit out there. There have been in this country since 2016. Let me see, where was that fucking paper, that thing I downloaded? Hold on, give me 2 seconds. I should have had it ready. Oh, fuck. Where is it? I want to get the stats correct. That's why I'm doing that. Give me 1 second and I'll find it. I thought I downloaded it. I guess I didn't. Hold on, I will find it.
One of the things I'll bring up while you're looking for that is the shooter was a trans woman.
There we go, I found it.
And it's very rare for a female shooter.
Not only that, but since 2018 to 2023, there have been 2,829 mass shootings. Now, a mass shooting qualifies as 3 or more innocent people within a crowd. I'm sorry, 4 or more. 4 or more. 2,829.
In 5 years.
Now, in 5 years. Now, I want to bring up why that's such a big number. Because only 3 of them, 3, have been trans.
Mm-hmm.
Now, those 2 others, I genuinely don't know. I have not heard of them. There was one other story of a trans person attempting a mass shooting and was unsuccessful. I think killing 1 person, that was it. So 4. Let's just, give the benefit of the doubt and say 4. That means 4 trans people out of 2,829. And you want to sit there and say, like a fucking absolute asshole, that trans people are targeting the Christians, or that trans people are dangerous to the point where you think they need to be put in a concentration camp?
They weren't saying shit like that when Dylan Roof shut up a fucking black church in South Carolina a few years ago. They fed him Burger King.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because this country is broken. Not only do we give zero fucking shits about the gun issues in this country, but we want to target, I don't want to say minorities, but the disenfranchised. We want to target the downtrodden. We want to target the fucking smaller numbered groups of people, because white fucking cisgendered assholes in this country can't think outwardly. They know that they can't be racist. They know they can't be sexist. They know they can't be homophobic or transphobic, but they do things that just, like, everyone reads between the fucking lines. If you're the type of person on this fucking earth who can't accept somebody for who they are, you don't deserve air. Period. I'm fucking furious at this. And I want to make it crystal fucking clear. If it were a gay kid that went and shot those people, and you're sitting there saying gay people deserve to be concentration camps, leave this fucking country. You're the problem. I cannot stand it. I haven't been more angry in a while than this situation. And this doesn't have to do with that one of my closest best friends is trans. Yes, I'm talking in third person about you, Maya. It doesn't have to do with that. It has to do with the logic and the fucking morality and the empathy that some of these unbelievable pieces of shit do not have. If you are so simple fucking minded that you think of a trans person, or you think of a gay person, or you think of a black person, or you think of a fat person as evil or bad or stupid or whatever, fuck yourself. Full on. You are not a good person. If you do believe in God, you're going to hell. Jesus taught to accept others for who they are and what they are. It is in the Bible 1,000 times. And you have chosen to ignore it for what? Money? Go to hell. All right, I'm sorry, Maya. I got it out.
Dig a hole, jump in it. We'll cover it up. Now, Greg's angry. How do you think we feel? Because we've been targeted for the past 48 hours.
I know.
Random people seeking anybody that, doesn't hide the fact that they're trans are getting targeted. They're getting death threats. They're getting blamed for this, saying, "How do you, this is on your hands," because we're called groomers, we're called pedophiles, we're called rapists. We just want to fucking pee and live our lives. And yeah, there's going to be an outlier in every group, of course, and naturally. Eventually, there was going to be a transgender person fucking take matters into their own hands and go off on innocent people. It won't be the last. And I'm not saying that as a warning. I'm saying that as a matter of fact, especially considering if you look at all the anti-trans legislation that's been introduced in the state level nationwide this year alone, and it's just March 29th, over 400 bills banning affirming care. That's the kind of shit that will set others off. It's not going to get better. And all I can say is to the people in the trans community, stay above it and fight for your rights, but do it in a legal way and in a safe way, as safely as you can. And I know in some states it's not safe. Hell, in the area that I live in, it's not safe for me. I live in the reddest part of a blue state. But yeah, it's fucked up. It's absolutely fucked up. It's fucking scary. And, the person that did this, she was a former student. She had a vendetta against the headmaster. She had a vendetta against the school. It's a horrible thing what she did. And I'm not defending her actions in any fucking way.
No.
I do find it ironic that this is the one time in media that they're not misgendering her.
No, they're doing a great job at, like, a lot of headlines have just said, like, former Christian school student or
Yeah.
Young woman, blah 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 blah. Like, there's just a handful of them that are saying trans, but it's those Christian right fucking talking heads that are mentioning it the most.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's fucking crazy. It's fucking horrible. And here's the thing. There was a senator in Tennessee, or maybe it was a representative, state senator, or a representative, I'm not sure. They were questioning him about it. And there's a side-by-side tweet of two things he's talking about. One, he's talking about drag because Tennessee became the first state in the nation to ban drag performances just a couple of weeks ago. And they're like, we're not putting up with this dad burn crap. And we're going to show Tennessee, we're going to show them why Tennessee won't put up with it. It's talking about drag, which has been highly prevalent in media for as long as there's been media. I mean, hell, Shakespeare was all male performers, even the female parts, hundreds of years ago. Yeah. But no, fucking can't have RuPaul out here. God, no. Think of the children. It's got to protect them. People that grew up watching fucking Bugs Bunny in a dress that probably fucking jerked it in the goddamn fucking bathroom to Bugs Bunny, are now angry that it's being accepted in many places. In many places it's not. And it's being vilified and demonized. And this same representative or senator, whatever he was, this politician, this piece of shit, when they asked him about sensible gun control laws, and he says, quote, well, you can't control what a criminal does. We can't stop it. End quote. So they can stop drag, but they can't stop criminals, gun laws. Well, here's the thing. This person, this individual, this shooter, had 7 legally purchased firearms, all purchased in the city of Nashville, where this occurred. Legally. Mm-hmm. Once again, legally obtained firearms, AR-15, semi-automatic handguns as well, because they use 2 AR-15 style rifles and a modified handgun, all purchased legally. But people like Marjorie Taylor Greene say if there had been teachers with guns, this wouldn't have happened. If we had armed people, all they can think is more fucking guns, more fucking guns. Guns are the goddamn problem.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking hate guns. I wish guns didn't exist. I wish they weren't necessary. Oh, wait, they're not necessary for anything, period. All they are weapons used to take lives of others.
Yeah.
Period.
Like, you can even go to the extent of saying, oh, well, it's hunting rifles. What are fucking hunting rifles used to do? Kill. Like, I'm not saying kill humans, but guns have been always designed to kill something.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? Automatic rifles with 30-round magazines are designed to not kill animals.
Nope. Yeah. Fuck it. I'm tired. I'm tired of this shit.
It's infuriating. Like, it is unbelievably fucking infuriating. Living in this country is a day after day after day fucking nightmare. You don't know what is going to happen when you walk out the front door. Hell, sometimes you don't even have to leave your house.
Nope.
Isn't that fun? I'm sorry to bring the mood down, guys, because we do have a review of the newest Mandalorian episode, and it's going to be great. Like, it's awesome. But we had to address this. And not just because, like, if it was just another average school shooting, which sounds awful because that's a fucking daily thing in this country, literally. Either daily or every other day. There's a mass shooting every day in this country. That's the point I'm getting at. The problem is, in this very specific scenario, is the right's unbelievably strong attack on trans people.
Yeah.
That's why we're bringing this one up very specifically. If it was another white dude, like it has been, some white guy, cisgendered white guy, nobody would be talking about it. It'd be forgotten by tomorrow. Should have been forgotten yesterday.
And you look at the 2,829, was it?
2000. Did you
2008.
say 2000?
Yeah, I said 2,829, correct?
Yes.
3 of those shooters were confirmed trans.
3.
That's 0.001%.
Yep.
Now, take a look at those mass shootings. 2,829. That's in a 5-year span. You divide 2,829 by 365. That's 7.75 years if there were 1 per day. So that lets you know there's multiple a day.
Oh yeah. This year alone there has been 160, I think that's what I read. 160 mass shootings.
There's not even been 90 calendar days in the year yet.
I was gonna say, how many days in 2023 have there been? 88.
31, 28, and 29.
Well, I didn't want to do the math that quickly, so I just used Google. But 88 days in 2023, there's been 160 mass shootings.
So that's almost 2 a day.
Yep.
Just a smidge under a 2 a day average.
You know, a lot of older people, like my boss, will sit there and say, oh, this country's going down the tubes because of this and this and this. And it's 9 times out of 10 younger people just not agreeing with them.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes everything out of me to not be like, actually, the reason the country's going downhill is because a lot of you old people don't want to actually do anything to change anything in this country, to make anything better. When you're sitting there and you're the type of person that says, well, back in my day, it was like this, you're a problem. You're a big problem. The
only time I ever talk about things back in my day, I miss toy stores being fucking awesome in the 80s. You know, back in my day, toy stores were awesome. But that's a fucking first world problem. That's not a fucking, reflection on, oh, I miss the days when we could be racist and fucking hate people for the reasons. Ugh.
That's something that kills me is when people say shit like that. I'm like, everything that we've done to this country up until, I want to say, Nixon, was to benefit. I mean, and things have gotten better in certain circumstances. Like we've implemented new laws to, protect others and to help those disenfranchised and the poor and the impoverished. But you have people that don't want that stuff. so badly that they
They're
will
trying to
fight
take
tooth
it
and
away
nail.
at state levels.
Yeah. It's just something that this pandemic has taught me. And I always kind of knew it, but it was very much cemented, was that when, pardon me, I'm about to burp. When people have to change,
They're resistant to it as fuck.
yeah, they're, and it's not in a logical sense. I think that's the thing that kills me the most, is that I work on a very logical level in my head. When, oh my gosh, I'm just gassy suddenly. When I look at a problem, I go, here, I'll do this. I'll do this, Maya. Fall Guys.
Mm-hmm.
They've been having a lot of problems with the game, trying to get it fixed, trying to get it running because it's on the Switch. A big issue with it is that, like, some of the mechanics, like zero grav, don't work super well. So they've had to put that away. Like, unless the level was built with it implicitly, it's gone. Zero grav just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
As an obstacle, I should say. And there's certain other things here and there that the game just can't function well with on the Switch. It causes like flashing or really bad bugs. So a lot of maps, a lot of variations just don't exist. And I know they're trying to work on it, but it's frustrating from a fan's point of view. You're like, I really want to like this game, I really want to give it its due, but it's just, this is a pain in the ass. So there's a lot of like apprehensiveness when that company says, hey, we're going to do this cool thing. We're going to do this cool thing where we're going to give players the ability to create their own maps, right? We're going to do a cool thing where we're going to give you the tools to make really cool ideas for maps. And then what we'll do is we'll implement them. Like, if people start playing them and then they're voted on, we'll implement them in this one game type that's just user-created levels. And you can kind of maybe vote on them, give them a thumbs up, give them a score. And if those levels are so good, we'll take that level, refine it just a little bit, and add it into the main game. I think that's a fucking awesome idea.
Yeah.
The people that I play with from time to time on PlayStation, they yesterday were talking about it. I was playing a little bit of Fall Guys with them, and we were talking because they were like, when was the last time we had a season update? And I said it was about 3 months ago, which is a long time for a free-to-play game to have a season. And then with oh my god, I'm sorry. They were talking about when's the next season come out, and I said it should be April 25th. That's what everyone's been saying, is April 25th. Okay. And with it comes the creator map. And one of them says, well, is it going to have any new maps? Like a themed, situation where they're going to have their new maps put into the game? No, they are releasing that created user map thing. That's what they're releasing.
Yeah.
One of them goes, well, then I'm going to fucking boycott this game. To which I replied with, the fuck you are. Like, it's the only fucking game you play. If you're boycotting this, then you're not playing video games. And they started making a big deal about the scenario at hand with that being the case, because what they weren't doing was using that logical part of your brain.
Yeah.
The logical part where you ask a question like, why? Why is it like that? Why are they doing it in that fashion? They're not asking that question. This is a long roundabout way to say that's the problem. People aren't using that part of their brain. They're just reactionary. They're not asking why or what or how or who or when. They're just being reactionary. And I see this in every facet. That's why I'm bringing up Fall Guys on top of this very sensitive topic, is because instead of a lot of these people asking why with what's going on, they're just being reactionary.
Yeah.
And they don't actually care whom it hurts or how detrimental it is to society as a whole. They want it their way. They're uncomfortable with a thing and want to keep their toy. They want things to be comfortable for them. They don't care how uncomfortable it's been for others. They don't care how detrimental it's been to others' mental state or physical state. They don't care. 1,000 people a day could commit suicide in this country, and as long as they're comfy, they're okay with it.
Yeah.
And that's the most frustrating thing about humans as a whole. Not just America. This is a human problem. People are selfish. Not everybody. I would actually argue more people are not selfish than are. But the problem is that a lot of those selfish people have platforms. A lot of those selfish people are in power. And this is the problem we run into, is that you also have the uneducated. You have the people who have the information at their hands, at their disposal, and they choose not to accept it. Yeah. Now, I'm not talking about certain parts of Russia or North Korea. Those people don't really have a choice. But if you have the choice and you are given stats, you're given information, go back to that documentary we watched called Beyond the Curve about flat earthers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Information was given to them hand over fist. We were given, or they even proved themselves wrong with multiple experiments and still refused the information. And why? For what? Because it didn't make them comfortable. Accepting that you're wrong, or accepting that others are different, or coming to terms with the fact that maybe things weren't as how they thought, or just accepting change, is not only a sign of intelligence, it's a sign of empathy. It's a sign of maturity. If you give a toy to a child and then realize that toy could harm them, and you take that toy away, the child throws a temper tantrum. The child is upset because there was a change, but their brain isn't formed and functioned well enough to understand that. So why do we have adults doing the exact same thing, but with hate and disgust and this temperament that they deserve to not feel bad? Sorry, I got a little philosophical there with you, but
it's okay.
It's Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, it's a heavy issue. It's an important issue. It's frustrating beyond belief. You asked me this morning, are you okay if we talk about it? I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm okay if we talk about it. I mean, it's got to be talked about, especially when the target of the ire, harms me.
Yeah. It's unreal. The thing I have is that, like you said, you do the math. We have about 2 mass shootings a day in this country. Not a week, not a month, a day. Most of them are cisgendered white people. Why isn't that ever the focus? People aren't asking that question. They're uncomfortable by a trans person. They're uncomfortable by a gay person. So the second that it's a gay person or a trans person doing the shooting,
They capitalize on that
they
fact.
capitalize it. Yeah. They home in on it because they want things to not. Now, I'll say this much, and I truly believe this. People like Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson, 100% are what do you call them? Grifters. I don't personally believe that Tucker and Ben are stupid enough to believe the words coming out of their mouth. I believe they're doing it because they know that they get a lot of money from it. A lot of money. The people that watch their shows are
Gullible as fuck.
gullible as fuck. You said it. You nailed it. And they know they're going to get money from them. Especially somebody like Ben Shapiro who controls his entire media group. You know, there's even times where Ben has said something that there's a moment where you can kind of see it in his face, or he kind of chuckles at a moment. You're like, you don't believe what the fuck you're saying, do you? And I think that's something that is another problem with this country is you get, you know, there's that old adage of money is the root of all evil, right? And that has never been more prevalent than our current age in America.
Yeah.
You know, you have people like Steven
Lobbyists.
Crowder, very lobbyists are the biggest evil in this country. And then you think of people like Marjorie Taylor Greene or Lauren Boebert, and you're like, how the fuck did they get elected? Well, they got elected by people who listened to these grifters and, you know, hook, line, and sinker fall in place. And again, I want to make something as clear as I can. There are liberal grifters. There are.
Oh, yes.
There are people on the left that are gullible with a lot of shit too. I mean, I'll give you a perfect example that happened this last weekend. What did everyone do when that news came out about Jonathan Majors?
Honestly, wasn't paying attention too much, but I've seen a few things saying they should recast him.
So he was arrested in New York for what was said to be domestic violence. That he punched and strangled his girlfriend. That's what the news had reported on immediately. The Army went in and canceled the contract they had with him, or something to that effect, or was in the process of canceling it, and completely shelved his commercial, his ad that he had on for the Army. That woman recanted her story entirely. Here's what actually happened. Another man punched his girlfriend. In an attempt to help his girlfriend, Jonathan Major calls 911. The cops come, see a black man with a woman saying that, quote unquote, he hit me, and arrest Jonathan Majors. The news cycle gets a hold of this and immediately starts saying he punched his girlfriend. So all the reactionary progressives and liberals went, well, we should cancel Jonathan Majors. In an instant.
Yeah.
And then you have people online.
Over racist cops.
Mm-hmm. You have a lot of these liberal grifters online talking about how Jonathan Majors is the problem and he's just a snake, you know, like he's a bad person, he's a bad man. without any due process, without any evidence. Like a lie was latched onto by these liberal grifters. Are they as detrimental to people's safety as conservative grifters? God, no. Absolutely not. Like,
But they
there
are
might be
still
some,
harmful.
I was gonna say there might be some racist that's like, oh, black people are bad because of what Jonathan Majors did. But I don't think that those people are listening to liberal grifters. So I don't know. But it's just, I don't know what else to say. The whole situation is fucking awful. It's upsetting deeply because people like you are at risk now. Bigger risk than you were.
Yeah.
And it's because people don't know how to have empathy or kindness towards others. Like, people also don't care about statistics. I think that's the other problem I have, is that you could show them 1,000 times the numbers I just gave you about mass shootings. They don't care. They don't want to care. Because people like you, Maya, make them uncomfy. I'm just circling the same bush here. I'm not. Oh, we gotta. It's just infuriating.
Well, do you have any final thoughts or anything you want to get out?
I mean, I know that our audience are kind-hearted people. I know that our audience, we've been over this for the past so many years that we don't attract people that aren't smart or kind. We don't. And if you're here and your thought process is in line with the assholes, then leave. We don't want you. But I don't think they're here. So I don't know. Just be smarter, be kinder. That's all I got. What about you? Any final thoughts on your end?
No. No, I'm just waiting to see what happens next. We know there won't be any meaningful gun reform come out of it.
I think with the politics of the country, you don't also have to worry about any anti-trans legislation federally. It's all going to be state level.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
that any of it. I mean, it's like it's shining a turd is all I'm doing right now. It doesn't help, but I mean, I hope it helps. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to be like, hey, so here's a tiny bit of positive in this giant fucking turd sandwich. So anyway, folks, let's go ahead and move on. I got it out of my system, so I mean, sort of. I'm still fucking angry about it, but we're gonna go ahead and talk about chapter 21 of Mandalorian, which, boy oh boy. But if you have a synopsis, Maya,
I don't.
Oh.
I don't. Give me a second, and I'll see if I do.
Okay.
Oh.
Because I want to run down each segment of the show as it went, because there was so much. It's funny too because
yes, here we go.
Okay, good, perfect.
I got a rundown. So after a rather lengthy recap, we see the pirate Gorian Shard enter Navarro airspace in retaliation for Vane's expulsion. Grief Karga contacts Carson Teva, the X-Wing captain, who has run across Grief Karga and Mando himself in each season. Suspecting that the attack is a prelude to a new rise of the Empire, Tiva informs one of his superiors, played by Tim Meadows. But when Colonel Tuttle shows indifference, he tracks down the Mandalorian covert and asks Din Djarin for help. Djarin convinces the covert to come to Karga's aid despite their prior confrontations with him, and Bo-Katan assumes command of the attack force. Then we have a showdown with the Mandalorians and the pirates. Eventually, the pirates are overthrown. Vane flees, and the Mandalorians are welcomed back by Karga and his people and granted a tract of land. And the armorer meets with Bo-Katan, acknowledging the Mythosaur's reappearance as an omen that Bo-Katan is the one who can reunite all Mandalorians, and allows her to remove her helmet, which was huge, and say she walks in both worlds. She can unite the clans. We see Captain Tiva at the episode's close on his way back to Adelphi. He encounters the wreckage of an old Lambda-class shuttle, recognizes it as Moff Gideon's prison transport, which went missing during transit, and a fragment of Beskar alloy suggesting that Mandalorians must have broken Moff Gideon out, and that is how the episode closes. So that's a brief rundown, just briefly touching on what went down in the episode. But
one of my favorite things that this episode did, and what we've seen with like Star Wars recently, is doing political intrigue correctly.
Yeah.
One of the things about like episode 1, 2, and sort of 3 is it was like they wanted to add that political intrigue, or George wanted to add that political intrigue, but he did it like watching fucking C-SPAN, so it just wasn't as fun. But here in this scene with Tim Meadows, we have perfect example of New Republic bureaucracy. A guy who was was in the rebel team. He was at the fucking second Death Star for sure. He might have been at the first. He's old enough. And
no, there were only like 4 survivors of the first Death Star, including
the X-Wing fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I remember way more than that?
Yeah, it was Han, Luke, Wedge, Hobby, and one other guy. Anyway, that's not important. But anyway, this guy's been around. He's clearly been around.
Well, like that's what I'm saying is I believe him to be, he's an ex-rebel. Is my point. Is I believe that he fought with them for sure at some point. And so you have him who's like, I just want to help people. I want to save people. I don't want people to be hurt. And then you have this person who is ex-Imperial, trying to be reformed. But we have that scene with the doctor, the guy who's joined to the clones,
Dr.
in like
Pershing.
Pershing in episode 3. So like, what is her fucking motives in this situation? And he recognizes that scene was so fucking cool. Like, I could have watched that forever. And you have the fucking oblivious bureaucrat going, I don't know if we can help. Like, it's so fucking smart.
She's bringing up they're not a charter system. They've not signed the charter. We can't help them because there are other people that we need to help. And besides, maybe a little lesson will open their eyes.
Very Imperial of her.
And then she's like, I was liberated.
Oh my God, so good. So fucking good. But, yeah, I just like, I even paused it at that point, and I said to my dad, I go, that scene was the fucking coolest. And he was like, why? And I just kind of ran it down. I'm like, first off, Tim Meadows is in the fucking scene, which is great.
He didn't pay for drugs, not once.
Dad was like, "Who is that?" I'm like, "Oh my god." Um, but yeah, so there's that. There was that aspect, and then there was the like. That's the thing I liked about Jib is that he was like, he looks at her and he's like, "Something's off about you. I don't trust you." Like he recognized that she was ex-Imperial immediately.
Well, because she has that identifier that shows she was through the Imperial recovery program or whatever it's called.
Well, I feel like he looked at that to make sure his suspicions were correct, right? Like, I felt like before he looked at that, he like had a fucking feeling. He was like, oh, because his instincts aren't going to be off on that. So, but man, this show is just too. I just fucking love it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so what's the next scene?
The action scenes with the Mandalorians versus the pirates were great.
That was so fucking cool. Like I was gonna say that the scene before that, where we get Jib going to where the Mandalorians are.
Why are you calling him Jib?
I thought that's what his name was Jib.
It's Carson Teva.
Did I read the wrong name on the fucking thing? Probably did. Carson is his name?
Carson Teva.
TiVo. That's what everyone keeps calling him is TiVo.
Teva.
Teva.
Like diva with a T.
Well, you know how I'm bad with names.
I know.
Well, the reason that I was also like excited about it was that when Teva gets that message from Grief, it's like gotta remember his name. When he gets that message from him, he's at the bar and an alien walks over to him, and I immediately recognize. I was like, "Is that? No, that can't be Zeb. That can't be Zeb from Rebels. That's yeah, but it looks like him." And then the fucking credits showed that it was Zeb, voiced by Steve Bloom or Blum. I got real antsy in my pantsy. For anybody if you've never watched the show Rebels, Steve Blum voices a what was the alien's race? I said it to you in text.
You didn't. You just said the alien LSAT officer.
Lasat.
Oh.
Lasat is the alien race. Because I did Wikipedia that. I was like, what race is that? Yeah. Why did I read his name incorrectly? I'm so mad at myself for that because I went through real quick. Anyway, because I read the wrong fucking actor's name. That's why. I'm stupid, Maya.
It's okay.
Anyway,
mistakes happen.
Yeah, when I just thought that was really fucking cool that they were there together. Like, it's a nice little nod that the characters from Rebels survived everything that happened in that show leading up to the destruction of the Empire, because that was the whole point of the show Rebels, was that it's a good show. It's a good cartoon show. You got to give it a shot. But yeah, when Teva goes and talks to all the Mandalorians, including Din, and then there's that thing inside the cave where like you have to have the hammer in order to speak. I was like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah. And when Paz Vizsla stood up and you thought he was going to like...
the other Mandalorian that has the fucking gap. Thank you.
Paz Vizsla.
Like he's Paz, yeah. I remember names in the moment, like as the show's on. Mainly because the subtitles probably saying their name, like if they're off camera, but say a word. But come to the podcast, I'm like, I don't know anybody. When Paz is up there, and it sounds like he's like disagreeing, but then he's like, "Why do we do it? Why would we do it? Because we're Mandalorian." I was like, "Yeah!" And I think I looked at my dad and I go, Mandalorians versus space pirates. I'm fucking so into this. Dude, how hyped did you get when you saw the armorer fucking like start clubbing people up top?
Oh, I was happy as shit. I was a giddy little girl.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Even my dad yelled at that one. Dad was like, "Yeah!" Oh my god, it was so much fun. Fuck, was it fun. Then it was like super triumphant. God. I might just watch the episode again for that fucking action sequence, you know?
Yeah, it was very good.
Were you
If I had one critique about the episode is the lack of actual citizens fleeing Navarro under the pirate siege. It's like, oh, there's not a lot there, you know, but yet they're trying to make it seem like Navarro's this up and coming center for trade, but there's hardly anybody there. And I get it, it's because of budgetary constraints, budgetary reasons, but couldn't you got a few more dozen extras to at least pad that scene out some?
Yeah.
That's really literally my only critique of the episode. I was thinking when they were having that conversation, though, the armorer and Bo-Katan, that the armorer was actually going to take her helmet off for a minute.
I thought so too. I was so excited. I was like, "Who's playing her? Who is that?" I mean,
It's
I'm
Emily
sure.
Swallow.
I was gonna. What I was saying is like sometimes when a character is like that, where they don't take off anything, it's an actor behind the armor, but like a voice actor doing the voice.
No, it's been her. There's set photos of her without the helmet.
Ew.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I've ever seen those set photos.
Oh, well, I can send you.
Yeah, I was like, don't go out of your way to do it. But if you can find them, I want to see them.
No, right there.
So where was? Huh. Wait, no. Because there's a character in this episode. I'm trying to figure out who plays them. Because I know it was... Okay, let me see here. Oh, shit. They're right there. That's fucking rad.
Yeah.
That is fucking rad. I think I text this to you, but I think it's really interesting that technically Dave Filoni is like, hey guys, I'm writing this entire story that takes place between episode 3 and episode 4. No, sorry, episode 4 and episode 7. Episode 6 and episode 7. Like, it's sort of that way with Rebels, and he's just got a fucking like control of that one spot. It's fucking great because he's just interjecting all his characters. Like there was a whole interview he had where he was talking about Bo-Katan, and that Katie Sackhoff, he hired or cast Katie Sackhoff as Bo-Katan because he said if we ever get to do her in live action, she'll be able to do the live action role.
Yeah.
He even told her that like when he hired her was like. And so the fact that they're getting to do it and making her character so fucking important to the Mandalorians is just brilliant. Dude, I love this fucking show. I love it so much. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm very pleased with it. This season's been fantastic. We're 5 episodes in. We got 3 episodes left. You know, and then we'll probably have to wait a year and a half.
Yeah. But I mean, one of the greatest things that is happening with Star Wars right now is that we have smaller, more contained stories. I am getting a tad worried that I'm getting a tad worried that Mandalorian might be getting a little too big. One of the things that was a big draw and a big like thing that people really enjoyed about Mandalorian season 1 and season 2 was how contained it was. You know, like you had a story with a villain. You had your main character, small side stories that kind of advanced the main plot or whatever, but you had your contained shit.
Yeah.
And but now with Boba Fett's whole thing and
The
you know,
introduction of
Bo-Katan coming in,
Bo-Katan.
Coruscant, yeah. Like it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We've had fucking Ahsoka Tan in both Boba Fett and Mandalorian now. We've had, you know, there's so much going on that's intertwined. I don't want Mandalorian to stray too far from Din Djarin's story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. You want him to be, you know, right there in the forefront. But you know, Favreau did say it is going to tell the overarching story eventually of how the First Order came about. We're going to see that. So,
And that's fine. I just like I hope that's a different show. You know what I mean? I hope we don't see that exactly within Mandalorian. Parts of it, sure, but not like I don't mind the offshoot episodes within Mandalorian. I fucking loved Pershing's story of trying to reallocate to what's going on and where he is now, and meeting the other woman that I can't remember her name. Love that, but
yeah,
like it's still got to focus on Din Djarin, and maybe we're not right now because his story isn't like with the fact that he's finished his thing with Grogu, you know. He's with Grogu. He's with the Mandalorians. He's finished his he swam in the waters of Mandalore. Maybe that's why they're focusing elsewhere, and that's fine. I shouldn't complain. We're getting really good fucking Star Wars. I shouldn't complain at all. Like I've been really happy with Star Wars for the past. I'll put it this way: since Episode 9 really burned my ass, I've been really happy with Star Wars since then. So I should not complain. But let's go ahead and get final thoughts and a grade, and then get up on out of this podcast.
Oh, weren't we going to do something else?
We were, but I had realized what we were going to do. Everybody was a WrestleMania main event tier list, but I haven't watched every single WrestleMania, especially every single WrestleMania main event, so it wouldn't have worked.
Oh, that's what you were wanting to do. I didn't know. I've not watched Mania in years.
Yeah, it would have been. I'm really excited. I'm gonna watch WrestleMania this weekend. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna be with my buddy Andy, and we're gonna have a good time. I hope so, anyway. But I've been keeping up with wrestling for the past few months. We watched Royal Rumble, and so I've been watching Raw and SmackDown every week leading up to WrestleMania. But the way that, like, maybe I just didn't click when I was younger, but every single pay-per-view, if you want to call them pay-per-view at this point, is the storyline. Like, that's where the storyline shifts. And maybe the Raw and SmackDown after that, because, like, everything leading up to WrestleMania, I could have just watched Royal Rumble and been fine, and then watched WrestleMania, and nothing would have been really changed. It's just always those kind of, it's a little bit every week. You're like, ew, my soap opera.
You're not wrong.
So, but yeah, let's go ahead and wrap it up.
I mean, I'll let you go ahead and give a grade first.
Well, it's an S episode. I know that we said we wouldn't do that, but it's an A+. Like, if that's the highest grade, I can give it A+. Like, this episode is from front to back entertaining. Oh, we didn't talk about the Moff Gideon thing at the end.
Yeah, we did.
But you mentioned it with the summary, but we didn't discuss it.
Well, I mean, it had been implied in the episode with Dr. Pershing when he's talking to the Imperial recovered Imperial rehabilitated officers, that one of the rumors were he never made it to trial.
Right.
This brings light to the fact that he was broken free and didn't make it to trial, and they're implying that it could be another sect of Mandalorians that maybe we haven't seen, or maybe we have seen,
or it's somebody that just has Mandalorian armor,
or somebody that had Beskar to make it look like it was Mandalorians,
or it could be one of the Mandalorians or a couple of the Mandalorians within the Mandalorians that we know, and he's now hiding amongst them wearing Mandalorian armor.
That would be fucked up. I think that's a stretch, but the fact that over 2 years did elapse from the time of his capture to the time of the end of the Book of Boba Fett, it is possible, because it was just Paz Vizsla and the Armorer there for a while.
Right.
If that would be too capable of it, but he clearly has no love of the Empire, and she doesn't either. So I would rule those two out.
Yeah. I don't see why not. I just, I think it's very smart that they're doing this, because regardless, like, him being out, him having escaped or whatever is going to be directly tied back to Din. Whether it's, like, people are looking for Din, like the New Republic want to arrest him, or whether oh my God, Moff Gideon. Jesus Christ, couldn't think of his name for a second. If Moff Gideon wants to like exact revenge or some shit, that's gonna be. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how it plays out. But yeah, I was thoroughly entertained by the episode. I really enjoyed it a lot. I really squealed when the Armorer broke bad in the tower, taking out those pirates and the gunner. That was awesome. But yeah, I will also echo your A+, giving it max points across the board. Like I said, my only critique, and it's for budgetary reasons, so I can't hold it against it, was the lack of citizens on the run out of Navarro's city. I get it. I understand.
I feel like a lot of them probably went into hiding. Like, I remember that that cook or chef or whatever was still trying to survive there and being bullied by the pirates. That would be my only reason. You're probably more right than anything, but
yeah,
that's my justification for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, fucking excellent show. Well, I think that's it. We're gonna call it there, because the episode's running an hour and I got to get shit done today. So, but guys, thank you so much for listening. It's been a fucking blast doing this podcast. I know that we had a heavy-handed opening, but them's the breaks. When shit affects you and affects others, like, we want to talk about it. We want to bring it up. So, want to shine some light on it, especially when it's awful, awful, awful fucking people trying to harm others. But guys, next week we're just gonna it's just Mandalorian chapter 22. This has a lot to do with the fact that like I haven't seen anything come up, but there might be something. Like I got a lot going on this week to begin with. Like the part for the car to get it to pass smog is coming in.
Oh yeah,
So,
how much was that? Pretty inexpensive, I hope.
$90.
That's not terrible.
Part of that was shipping as well, but it should be here today.
Yeah. Oh,
should be
that's
here
great.
today. So yeah.
That's great.
So I got to get that done. I gotta, I also have work, and then I'm going up to Placerville to hang out with Andy and the kids, and so there's a lot going on. But so if we had something, it'll be short, maybe like a movie or something like that. But I don't really see anything especially special. I don't see anything coming out that's whatever. Guys, make sure you follow us. Yeah. Make sure you follow us on all social. Jesus Christ. Make sure you follow us on all socials, which are listed down below. That's where we'll tell you if we add anything to the show. I don't know why I couldn't say that, but here we are. Also, if you want to support the podcast, the best way to do that is to share it, to let other people know about it, and to buy our merch. If you want to buy a shirt with our logo on it, with our cartoon faces, go to Teespring. That link is also down below. There's also a code for 15% off. If you made it all the way this way to the podcast, you get a little treat. It's AQU15. Put that code at the end of purchase, and you get 15% off, which basically takes care of shipping and handling. That's it for my notes. Maya, where can folks find you?
You can find me on Facebook under my name, Maya Dawn Fisher. It's a public profile. And it is also linked to my Instagram and Twitter accounts. So it's your one-stop shop for everything I'm up to. What about you, Greg? Where can people find you?
You can find me at Chubruck Geek under all socials. I uploaded some new game clips from playing video games with my friends that are just funny. So if you want to go check those out, you do that on Twitter, which I might be downloading those and moving them to Instagram, because Twitter is a fucking hellscape right now.
Yeah, it is.
But I don't know. TikTok might be gone. That whole fucking... Did you see any of the stuff, the hearing from TikTok?
No.
Holy shit, dude. It was embarrassing. Like, one of these congressmen actually asked the CEO of TikTok, can TikTok access my Wi-Fi? That's what he said. And the CEO's like, sure, but it's your phone's accessing your Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
TikTok's just on the phone.
These people are stupid. They don't know how technology works, and they shouldn't have fucking... Anyway.
Yeah, no, it was embarrassing.
I'm sorry, but if you have to ask a stupid question like that, your license should be revoked. You should no longer be allowed to drive in public, and you should be fucking forced to retire. I'm sorry. You're just too goddamn old for society.
Yep. Like, I don't know who put you on this fucking committee to ask a guy about tech stuff when you don't understand how shit works, but... Oh, boy. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. Remember, chapter 22 of Mandalorian. So we're watching next week. Should be exciting. Should be fun. Remember, fuck the GOP and anybody that is trying to grift in the GOP. Fuck them. Fuck them deeply and hard. Fuck the NRA. You know that the NRA is part of pushing the narrative that guns are not the problem, trans people are the problem. That's the narrative that the NRA is going to try to push, and they can go fuck themselves. You can die in a fucking tire fire for all I care. Donate and help where you can. A lot of trans organizations out there need our help more than ever right now. So please donate to a lot of those organizations. You can Google those and find them. They are fucking everywhere. So please do that. Help where you can. A lot of people are hurting right now, mainly because of weather, whatever politics it may be. People need help. So do your best to be a kind-hearted person. We'll see you next week.
Take care, everybody.